We are in the heart of holiday season, and gift buying is a priority for many of us. But are we shopping with safety in mind as well?
I am a deputy SWAT operator.
I'm a mechanic.
I'm a customer service associate.
Hi, I'm Sheriff George Maier. Here at the Stark County Sheriff's Office, we are family. We support each other, we lean on each other, and we learn from each other each and every day. There are countless ways to serve Stark County within our agency, and one may just be perfect for you.
I am the Information Technology Director.
I am a K-9 technician.
I'm a maintenance technician.
Learn more on how you can join our team today and be the difference.
Welcome to On Our Watch. I'm your Stark County Sheriff, George Maier. Christmas decor, carols, and more. The holiday season is upon us, and gifts buying is likely to be on everyone's mind and to-do list. Today I'm joined by Jackson Township Police Chief Mark Brink and Lieutenant Leo Shirkey with the Ohio State Highway Patrol. We know the hustle and bustle of the holidays all too well, but it's essential that while we're making our list and checking them twice, we're also staying safe. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Great.
Well, great to have you guys with us, and we appreciate you being here. We want to talk a little bit about the holiday season. We just came off the busiest holiday shopping day of the year, Black Friday, and we're off to the races as it relates to people being out and about. Lieutenant, I wanted to start with you this morning and ask you a little bit about what does the increased traffic look like for you and your patrols with the patrol in the Stark County area?
Well, the main highways, thoroughfares, they're really going to be congested for us. We're going to have our troopers out there. We're going to work with all our other agencies throughout the county to focus our efforts for a high visibility on these roadways, just to make sure people are getting to their destinations and their shopping and parties and social events, safely.
It's funny, I was just talking to my wife the other day about, we always get a little hectic during the holiday seasons because there's so many things to do and so little time to get it done. When you're going to different parties and events, you try to fit them all in. And I think that also contributes to traffic congestion on the highways. Do you see that?
Yeah, we see it. We've been seeing it every day. It gets, more and more as we get closer to Christmas. What we want ultimately is people to have a good time, enjoy the holiday season, but do it safely. We see an uptick in crashes, fatals across the state, increase during this time. So, we just want to get the message out there, working with our partners, and just make sure people have a good time during the holiday season and do it safely and responsibly.
Well, to add to that, that hectic traffic time and that hectic holiday season, we add in the Ohio weather, and I know we've experienced some increase in Ohio winter weather already. So how do you get people to prepare for traveling on ice and snow covered roadways?
Well, what I would encourage people to do is look at that forecast. This is Ohio, so it can change every hour, but look at that forecast. Try to plan your events, your trips to the store, your shopping, your family gatherings around the weather if possible. Also, when you're out traveling, make sure your car is prepared. Your heater's working. You have blankets in your vehicle, possibly flares in your vehicle. Make sure your phone, your iPhones, or your cellular devices are fully charged. That way, if you do become disabled, you have a means to communicate with somebody or call for help.
Chief, now as we approach this busy holiday season, you have the pleasure, if you will, to being the Chief Law Enforcement Officer in Jackson Township. And that's probably the busiest shopping area in Stark County. And we get a lot of visitors from not only just in Stark County, from surrounding counties that shop in that area. How does that impact your patrols, and what's that look like for you?
Well, there's no doubt there's an uptick in accidents. I really encourage people, have a little grace during that time of year. People, they are from out of town that are coming to shop, to go to our restaurants, those types of things. They don't know where they're going. They're going to cut you off, but you really don't make the matter any better by blowing your horn, screaming and hollering. The road rage, we see a little bit of that every year. Just know that you're going to need more time when you come to Jackson Township, especially to the mall and to the strip this time of year. Know that everybody is looking to shop and get that deal, and they want to be the first one there. So
sure, and I know you've already experienced a busy holiday shopping weekend with Black Friday, and your patrols are out there, and you're seeing some of this traffic increase. And I think you mentioned have a little bit of grace, be kind, if you will. Okay, and so we say that now for people driving, because so often people are so multitasking, have so many things to do, they forget about the task at hand, which is driving. And so that's when we see traffic crashes, which engages your people, my people, and obviously the lieutenant's folks in handling crashes. So when folks are traveling in your area, I think one of the best pieces of advice that you mentioned to give them is give yourself extra time and make sure that they plan ahead for their traffic, for shopping expedition when they go out. So that's great advice. I know you experienced some increases in thefts and break-ins. Talk to us a little bit about that, Chief. What's that look like for your agency?
Well, I think a lot of them are crimes of opportunity. Obviously, a lot more people at the mall. People think that they can get away with things that typically they may not try to do, as far as the petty theft type things. The other thing that we see is, people bring packages home, and for whatever reason, they end up targeted for a burglary, those types of things. So you really do need to pay attention to your surroundings. I like to tell people, if you're out in that parking lot, maybe you feel really safe, but maybe somebody else is out there that doesn't. The best thing you can be is a good witness if there is something that happens, or make sure people are safe. For people that are shopping alone, get somebody to walk you out to the car. If you're buying a lot of stuff, I wouldn't recommend that you just walk out to your car by yourself. Wait for other people to be going out into that parking lot. And then don't leave valuables in the front of the car that can easily be seen, and people can just break a window and take computers, phones, those types of things, because that will happen also.
That's really good advice, Chief. One of the things we talk about is the increased traffic, but I think we can all agree that with that increased traffic, we do see an increase of those road rage incidents. And I also think it's a good time for us to talk about the move over and slow down. Oftentimes we may be stopped with a disabled vehicle, or you have a vehicle on the side of the road. Lieutenant, can you talk to us a little bit about the merits of move over and slow down?
That law has been in effect for quite a few years, and I always try to, when I stop somebody for a violation, I try to explain it to them. It's almost a common courtesy. If you're broken down on the side of the road, you would appreciate somebody moving over. But our law enforcement agent partners and officers, ODOT workers, tow trucks, they're stopped out there doing a service, and if you're able to move over, you're supposed to move over to an adjacent lane. And if you can't, we want you to slow down some to a reasonable speed, and cautiously, proceed by us, because under the cover of darkness, our uniforms, our jackets are somewhat reflective. But when we're out there, there may be an unseen action or movement which will require your attention to move out of our way. So it's very important for you. Just be aware of your surroundings, and again, I always address it as a common courtesy. You would appreciate it if somebody moved over.
And I think that's important to all of us. Our folks are out there each and every day trying to contribute to a safer Stark County, making our community safer. And we're asking the public to please, be kind, move over, slow down, and give them a chance to be safe as well. So I think we all can agree with that.
Yeah.
I know, Chief, we talked about leaving valuables where they can be seen in the car, and that's something that we experience at the Sheriff's Office actually year-round. We remind people to keep your cars locked, don't leave valuables in your car. And I think that's a constant reminder that we use, but I think it's even more important this time of year. As people go in and they have different stores they shop in, they may bring some of the gifts that they're purchasing out and put them in their car. It's important to not to leave those visible. I know you mentioned that. Some of the things that they can do, maybe cover them up with a blanket or something like that, so people don't see exactly what's in the car. And you've given some great tips about walk into your car safely, and I think those things are very important. Lieutenant, I know you and I recently talked about the traffic fatalities and the statistics here in Stark County. And usually in this program, we do not get too much into statistics, but I know that we're on a trend to have a slight decrease in the number of fatal crashes here in our county. That's important to folks like us, but we want to share that importance to the community. What does that mean to us and to you as an agency?
You know, it means that, you know, we're out there making a difference. You know, our fatals are down this year. You know, right now about 30% actually, which is great. You know, by working with our partners out there, you know, focusing on removing impaired drivers, you know, educating people on the use of safety belt and, you know, use, you know, all those things correlate into saving lives. And, you know, every time we have a fatality, you know, I look at it as what could have been done to prevent that? What could we have done? And, you know, when we go to these scenes, you know, whether, you know, Jackson's handling it or the SO's handling it, the worst thing for us is to have to do a notification because, you know, it's heartbreaking for that family. You know, as a first responder, it's also, you know, it's heartbreaking for us to actually have to do that.
I know when I spent some time on the highway patrol, I retired from the patrol 25 years, and one of the hardest tasks that I ever had was to have to make a death notification to a family. That's very heart-wrenching and difficult to do. Even more so during the holiday season, I think. I think you can add that in. And so we remind our folks out there, our listeners, please, please, please slow down, give yourself extra time when traveling, and take into consideration the weather, road and weather conditions. And you know, we try to remind folks of that, and we will continue to do that to reduce fatalities in our community. With that being said, Chief, I know during the holiday season you beef up your patrols, and how does that impact your agency? I mean, we all of us, and you know, we're really working hard to try to recruit folks to come into our profession, and so we're all struggling with that a little bit. How does that impact your agency?
Well, it becomes difficult filling all the different, what we call extra jobs. The stores will hire us specifically to be in there for certain hours. The good part for us is we have another officer, though, on the street then. So as many of those extra jobs as we can get our people to fill, it just puts a bigger presence out there so that if you have an incident where you really need to get a lot of officers to it, you're able to pull from those other extra jobs that we have going on. We'll have some high visibility traffic extra details to do during the holidays. The same way, we want people to be safe. This is a time of year that should be a lot of fun for all of us. Sadly, on our side of it, we see the tragedies during this time of year and the heartbreak and some of the people that go through a very difficult time over the holidays because of what they've been through in previous years, whether it's that lost loved one or that type of thing. So we want to be out there. We want people to communicate with us. We want to make sure that they feel safe in our community so that they can do the things that they want to do and not have to worry about it.
Well, that's great. I think that's an excellent approach. And I think when you talk about it, and we're going to talk more about this in our next segment, we talk about how we work together. And that's important. That's one of the reasons we're all here today, is because part of what we do is working together. And by working together, we create a safer community. I think it's fair to say that any one of us can do this alone. We need each other as partners, and so we'll talk more about that in the next segment. Lieutenant, as it relates to patrols, I know your patrols are somewhat increased during the holiday season because you have more traffic on the roadway and you have more troopers out there. How does that impact your staffing? How do you manage that?
Well, you know, we have a staffing level to where we allow one person off per shift. We also post, you know, overtime that, you know, units can actually sign up for. So we sort of direct our units to these high congested areas. And we also work with, you know, some of the agencies to focus on these areas to, you know, help, you know, make traffic flow better. So, you know, around get closer to New Year's, we'll focus, you know, some type of OVI enforcement, geared at making sure people are, you know, getting to and from safely. And we encourage people to utilize the Lyft and Uber and Sarda, who's offering rides.
Yes.
So we just sort of focus our efforts where we see our high crash trend, and working with our partners like in Jackson Township.
Okay, well that's great because that helps all of us, and I know we work together with you in that effort because when we team up, we're more successful.
Yes.
I want to take a moment to pause to speak to anyone in our community who may find that they have a calling to serve. We are welcoming dedicated men and women interested in serving across corrections officers, deputies, and 911 dispatchers.
I'm Major C.J. Stantz. Serving as a deputy includes a variety of duties. The job is challenging, always changing, and truly rewarding.
I am Terry Curry, Communications Supervisor.
Our dispatchers are the calming voice on the other end of the line during someone's worst moment. We are always there.
I'm Lieutenant Jeff Beck. Being a corrections officer isn't easy. The job is tough and it tests you every day. Every officer that works in our jail is making a difference.
I'm Sheriff George Maier. Learn more on how you can join our team today and be the difference.
Well, as we talk about collaboration more, I want to mention a collaboration that my office has worked out with SARDA here in Stark County during the holiday season. This is a great non-law enforcement partnership that we have with SARDA. SARDA will offer free rides during the holiday season on December 30th and December 31st after 5 p.m. Both those days they will offer a free ride to folks that need a ride that evening. So please be reminded, don't drink and drive, but if you need to, jump on the SARDA and get a ride home. Lieutenant, I think this is a good segue. We talked a little bit in the first session about how we collaborate. And I know there's a lot of collaboration. Your office works very diligently to work with each agency in the county to collaborate in traffic safety. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit for us?
Yeah, I mean, Stark County, we have great working relationships with all the agencies, and we work with the Stark County OVI Task Force, which is comprised of multiple agencies throughout Stark County, and the goal is to remove these impaired drivers from the road. And as we've seen this year, we have a 30% reduction in fatalities, which we attribute to working with our agency partners to make our area roadways safe. So, and then, we have like an education component of this also, which is through the Stark County Safe Community. So, again, we get out there, we try to educate the public on the use of safety belt use, and it just goes hand in hand why our fatals have went down this year.
I think that's fantastic, and I know we're an intricate part of the OVI task force as well as Jackson Township and Chief Brink. And people see us out there and they say, well, you're stopping all these people who are impaired drivers. And honestly, the way it works is we stop them before they're impaired. And that's really part of the goal, is that having that out there and people know that they're out there, and people think twice before they're out drinking, right, or impaired in driving. So I think it's a good tool that we use. Lieutenant, we talked a little bit about patrol, and you mentioned earlier about how you'll have extra patrols. Talk a little bit about that collaboration with the Highway Patrol and with some of your partners. I know we're in Plain Township, we're a neighbor to you in our patrols, and how does that work out working together with your neighboring patrols?
You have to have it. We can't do this job by ourselves. By working together, we're able to focus a number of people in one area and show a presence. And the idea of that presence is to allow people to know, listen, we're out there, we're going to enforce the laws. DUIs aren't a big thing to a lot of people until it affects them directly. And we've seen it. We've had a couple in Jackson Township that have just been devastating over the last couple of years. A very young girl that was killed by a drunk driver. Another man that was recently killed by a drunk and impaired person. We have to have that presence to make it safe on our roadways. And without the other agencies coming in and helping us, we just can't do it. You tie too many people up. We get a good accident down in Belton Village, I'll tie 4 officers up for maybe hours taking care of that accident. We need other people to be able to help us with it.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And I tell you, from the collaboration standpoint, from our office, we're always happy to work with our partner agencies. We work very closely with the lieutenant and his team, you and your team, as well as other law enforcement agencies in the county. And with that, I think we do contribute to a safer community. Like you said, there's no way we can do this alone, and I think we need to lean on each other to be effective in our community and making it safer. Lieutenant, my office has patrols that we work with you, and when we see an uptick, especially during this holiday season, in drinking and driving this time of year, we don't wait until there's a problem. I think that's one of the things that I want the community to know, that we're working behind the scenes before there's a problem to address the issue. And so I know it takes a lot of work on your part with your team, and so publicly I want to applaud you guys for taking the lead and making sure that we're all out there making our roadways safe. Chief, as it relates to holiday season, we talked a lot about shopping, we talked about safety, we talked about how to walk to your car if you're carrying a lot of gifts. You might want to have somebody with you. But there's another side to the holiday season, and that side is, especially now, people are struggling, and you've seen that a lot, and we've seen that in my office as well. And so, as we approach the holiday season, I think it's important to talk to our community a little bit about that piece. How does that impact your agency, and what are the things that you suggest for our community?
Our neighbors are our best allies when it comes to whether it's crimes, whether it's you have an elderly neighbor that's basically a shut-in. Someone needs to be checking on those people to make sure they're all right. We'll see, get a good snowstorm and you don't see any activity at a house that you normally see activity at. Call us. We'll do a welfare check on that residence to make sure those people are okay. Or if you're comfortable enough, go visit that neighbor. This may be one of the toughest times of the year for them. We absolutely see an uptick in suicides during this time of year, which is just is tragic. Again, everybody celebrate, and then you have those people that really don't have anybody that's looking after them. And as a good neighbor, let's look out for our neighbors, and I want to extend that to even, if you have packages coming in from whoever, don't leave them on your front porch where it's visible for everybody to be able to drive by and see them and just take them off the front porch. If you're getting a lot of those kind of deliveries, get a cheap camera and put up there. It's one of the best defenses that we have out there. We love to have stuff on video. It really helps our cases. The other thing is try to get them to put those packages around the back of the house, or have a neighbor that once it's delivered, they can put it somewhere for you, maybe in your garage or something like that if you're comfortable with it. But don't leave things just sitting around that people can easily target, because they certainly will drive through our neighborhoods. They'll find the easy targets, and that's exactly what they'll go after.
I couldn't agree more, Chief. And I will tell you, there's a certain amount of excitement that goes along with online shopping. And we see more and more people are online shopping. And, I think that excitement, just even the anticipation of the package. But as you're ordering items online that are very costly items, and certainly professional to you, or personal to you, not professional, but personal to you, you want to make sure that you get those gifts, right? You want to make sure that you have them. So I think that's great advice to give our viewers, to let them know, put a plan in place, right? Yeah. I think that you mentioned cameras. That's probably one of our best defenses, if you will. I know you and I have seen over the past couple of years that there was a huge spike in gifts being stolen off of people's front porch, right? Yeah, absolutely. And so as we approach the holiday season, people need to be aware of that. Take precautions. As you said, if you have something coming that is going to be delivered, talk to a neighbor, talk to a friend, have somebody there to receive that gift and get it in the house, or get it to a location where it's going to be secure. I think that's great advice for our viewers. As we start to wrap up, though, I want to kind of just go over, just to remind our viewers of a couple things. One, we know people are going to travel during the holiday season, right? It's inevitable. We're already seeing it. We're already into the holiday season. So last closing notes, remarks, Lieutenant, what couple things can people do to remain safe?
you know, drive for the conditions, drive for the traffic congestion, leave yourself enough time, try not to hurry, you know, just be a defensive driver. You know, everybody else, you know, may not be as defensive as you, but just be aware of your surroundings and always leave yourself that out.
Absolutely, great advice. And I will tell you, being a defensive driver is great advice, and I think we're going to add to that, be a courteous driver.
Yes.
One of the things that we know, we can teach people to be defensive. We got to teach people to be courteous, because just, you know, a pause, especially, you know, we still, in this area, we see late construction, and so that's great advice. And Chief, as we start to close here for our program today, just some closing thoughts you have for safety in our community.
One of the other things with driving, let's get off of all the media stuff. Let's put the phone down for a minute. That text can wait. We need to really pay attention this time of year, where we're going, what we're doing. Again, it comes down to having a plan, but let's really pay attention to the driving part of it. We have way too many accidents just because people are looking down at a cell phone.
Absolutely, and you know, I will tell you that distracted driving certainly contributes to our traffic crash picture here in Stark County, and so that's a great reminder for folks. You know, try to take care of the task at hand, which I said earlier is, you know, pay attention to your driving, be aware of your surroundings. To our guests today, Lieutenant Leo Shirkey of the Ohio State Highway Patrol and Jackson Township Police Chief Mark Brink, I want to thank both of you so much for being here and joining us today. And to the members of our community, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments about this show or past shows or topics you'd like to see discussed in the future, please send me an email. I'm your Stark County Sheriff, George Maier, and this is On Our Watch, where we are working together to keep Stark County safe.
I'm a communications technician.
I am Terry Curry, communications supervisor.
I oversee our 911 emergency dispatch center. Our dispatchers are the calming voice on the other end of the line during someone's worst moment. We answer that call day in and day out anytime someone needs us, and we ensure help arrives. Whether walking a caller through CPR during a medical emergency or simply staying on the phone so they are not alone, we are always there.
Learn more on how you can join our team today and be the difference.